Hello! This video is aimed at beginners. Why and how they might start making a maker space, maker education space. If you're an advanced maker, good on you. Go get them. But if no one's following you down that path, you might share this video. Bridging traditional STEM with phenomenal maker space is what this is about. My name's Ginger Lewman. I like to work with reluctant teachers. Reluctant teachers have heart, they have passion, they deserve to know how and why they do things. And they deserve to have it tailored just for them so that they understand. That's what I like to do. So let's jump in. I've been working with STEM and the concept of STEM since back in 2004. I worked trying to convince legislators in Washington, D.C. to create advanced programs for gifted learners. It was during the depth of No Child Left Behind. And what we've done as a system in education is we've built STEM programs from that viewpoint. And what we've created are these beautiful, soft, cuddly, familiar, friendly sorts of projects that we do and we call STEM. One example is our spaghetti bridges. It's everywhere. I look at this picture and I think, man, that's some low-level engineering right there, right? My secret rub is, why would we build these bridges and then test them to see how much weight they would hold? That's like if an engineer would build a bridge out in the world and then load up all the cars and trucks that they possibly could on it to see how many it would hold before it collapsed. Man, that's that engineer's fired, and so I don't want it to be something that's accidental. I want it to be set up to where it would be more authentic, right? There's good stuff that happens at spaghetti bridges. There is. Egg drops. Egg drops are lovely. They're fun. Are they intentional? Is there a lot of mathematics involved in them? There can be. Great teachers do put great engineering and design principles and mathematics and science behind it. But too many don't. Too many do these egg drops as some sort of culmination project, and instead of watching a video for fun, this is better. But it could be even better. I've seen biology teachers have kids put paper mache together. Is it adaptations? Is it about anatomy? Is it because they're trying to get art part into the STEM? Is it engineering? What is it we're doing here? I mean, if we're working with little kids, sure. But if this is a STEM curriculum, I think there could be better. It's not terrible, but I think it could be better. The current flavor of STEM, people love Bungee Barbie. And I don't know if you noticed, worksheets for STEM. I mean, I get it. The worksheets are about reflection. It's about rigor. It's okay. It's better than just tossing Barbie over the edge. But I wonder, worksheets, how are they engaging? You know, how we're trying to do the right thing, right? Bless our souls, we're trying. Many of us have moved. We've moved to putting the arts into STEM. But what if we rethink technology in STEM? Because that's like saying thinking is the T. Technology is everywhere. Thinking's everywhere. That just goes with now. What if it switched to tinkering? I'm picturing, I don't know, Geppetto in his workshop, you know, the Pinocchio guy, right? Some old man in his garage just tinkering and trying something different. It's constructionist, right? It's hands-on. What if instead of art, when we're thinking paper mache and crayons or dance or that sort of stuff, which aren't bad, I'm not faulting it, that's not bad, but what if we switched it to aesthetics? I mean, even an engine or the internal workings of a wind turbine can be beautiful. I mean, why not? So if we're moving from STEM to STEAM, and if we're adding tinkering and aesthetics, we're really starting to move into the realm of real engineering, and the world's starting to get just a whole lot cooler, right? Enter the maker movement. Today's modern maker movement has a different sort of flair. I'm going to show you a video here, and you can see the URL for it underneath if you want to see it on your own. But let's take a look.
I'm Eric Gratton. And I'm Brent Bushnell, co-founders of 2-Bit Circus.
And this is our Los Angeles workshop. We've set out to reimagine the carnival.
The carnival of the future.
The Steam Carnival is a modern traveling circus featuring high-tech games built with lasers, robots, and fire. It'll open in Los Angeles and travel to San Francisco next spring.
We've already made a lot of fun games to inspire kids to pursue science, technology, engineering, art, and math, or STEAM.
We're raising money to finalize production, to secure locations, and to reach out to schools. Inventing new carnival games, coordinating mentors, and organizing a full road-ready carnival takes resources.
We've got great ways for the whole family to get involved, including special kits that kids can use to make their own futuristic entertainment and be part of the show.
With the help of the community, we want to engage, entertain, and educate young minds all across the country. Tell all your friends.
Support the STEAM Carnival today.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the STEAM Carnival.
I tell you what, if I showed that to my students and said, this is going to be your classroom, oh, they would go crazy awesome. If I show that to parents and colleagues, administrators, I think they'd be worried about liabilities, right? So how do we get from our No Child Left Behind era STEM into that sort of thing? It's, again, back to the maker movement, right? It's back into the hands-on, the building, the developing persistence and grit, and not only the grit of stick-to-itiveness, but also literally grit under our nails. Don't our kids need that? Some of the tools that you'll hear about in the maker movement, I've got them highlighted here. There are a lot of affordable and some not so affordable hardware to get started. Let's take a moment. I want you to take a moment, actually. Pause the video if you want to, write down some of these names, Google the terms, check out their introduction videos, and tell me if those aren't going to hook your kids or not. One of the best resources out there is the Invent to Learn book by Sylvia Martinez and Gary Steger. Their research is impeccable. The ideas are solid. My partner Kevin Honeycutt and I read this when it first came out. We read it immediately right away because we know Sylvia and Gary and respect their work. And immediately when we read this, we saw the work that we'd been doing for the past 10 years. And they'd done all the research, so when I need to talk to administrators or people who aren't sure if this is good, high quality, what's the research behind? Man, this is your book. This is the one that you go to. So if we're moving forward into bringing together STEAM and STEM into the maker movement, into something that's great, it's hard to bring those things together. You know, the STEAM STEM of No Child Left Behind era and the hot makerspace movement of today. But this is what I do. I help teachers make things happen. So let's mash that stuff together, right? And let's make STEAMmaker. It's a combination of STEAM, STEM, and the maker movement. It's a way for teachers who have trouble bridging to the hot makerspace to see the possibilities. But right now, there's a gap we face, you see, in education. The traditional teachers are on one side, and our innovative jumpers in education are on the right. And the innovators look back to the traditional and they say, come on, jump. And I think those traditional-minded teachers really want to. And when the gaps are short, we can make that quick hop. That's not a problem. But each year, that gap widens. And with each innovation, it gets further. And the innovative teachers yell back, jump, jump. And again, the teachers get excited and they want to. And as it widens, if they're doing it on their own, too many aren't able to do it alone. Many can. Those of you who are watching the video probably can. But too many can't, so they don't even try. And we blame them. Or we can build bridges. I love building bridges. I did it for project-based learning, and now we have STEAMmaker. It's connecting the STEM with the maker education movement so the teachers can find a way to get there and still have high-quality learning, but not fall in the gap and run back to safety. See, STEAMmaker moves us from No Child Left Behind STEM into that more engagement so that teachers and students can find their way toward a more pure makerspace mentality. So, let's talk about it. STEAMmaker Camp. It's a 5-day camp where each day is yes. When we did it this summer, it was 14-hour days. Now, during a regular school year, we wouldn't do that. But this is the STEAMmaker camp of this summer I'm going to talk to you about. We brought students and teachers to come together to learn as colleagues. We worked mostly with grades 5 through 12, and it was about to merge STEM and Maker Ed. By the way, I think STEAMmaker Camp can be done with the littles too, and I'm currently working on a STEAMmaker Junior for them. But right now, wanted to start out with our 5 through 12s. So what are the main goals? If we want lecture and teacher-controlled learning, we're going to run our pre-service and professional learning that way, but I believe that truly teachers teach how they're taught. So, if we want authentic, if we want teachers to know how to manage learning, how to let go of the reins, and we got to role model it for them, right? I want our kids to know learning is fun and that they can do things without having that permission to pee mentality. It's about kids learning to know how to take charge. Can what? Can learn? Can have fun? Can grow? Can fix it? Can do it. STEAMmaker brings kids and teachers together as true co-learners, as collaborators, as exchange mentors for each other. If we want teachers to do learning every day, they have to experience it. And to do it with real kids in a real environment. When I first thought of building this bridge, I had no idea how to do it. I just knew that teachers wanted to, and it wasn't happening. So I sat down and I thought a lot, and I reached out to people and to resources and gathered thoughts from them, and I went back to the continued building, and it's happening. It's happening. So let's talk details. In 5 days, complete strangers came together with a stranger. We had to start small. We had to have a vision if possible. I had to build big and I had to plan big because I didn't know what skills they were coming to me with. I had to start from the very beginning and build big to accommodate all types and pacing of learning. These were our basic modules. And I hate the term module, and I don't like the term station. I don't know what the best terminology is, so if you know something, please feel free to put it in the comments. For now, we're just going to go with module, right? So this is what we did with students. These were the modules we put together. And I want to talk to you about how each one of those went, so let's dive in. One of the modules, fabric and wearable technology. This was a table tent that I had put on this particular module. Each one had a table tent, which started kids at the very beginning. This one, how to use a sewing machine. Too many of our schools are cutting that, and too many kids think that that's old school. We don't have to build our clothing anymore. We can go to the store. That's like old pioneer technology. But I'm saying it's not necessarily. If we're going to start looking at wearable technology, we've got to learn how to design and build things. And that includes learning how to sew. So I've got some resources, some links there where kids could go in. And I'm not just, okay, let's do this stitch. Now let's do that. That's not exciting for kids. You want to make a backpack, a gadget bag? They got in there and looked around and said, oh, I kind of want to do that. So then they had to learn in order to make that thing. Sewing Nerd on YouTube, if you go there, that's actually a link to my playlist that I've put together from a woman who's made really great videos. Word of caution about the Sewing Nerd, though. She has a themed drink or beer that goes with every single one of her videos. So I tried to cull it out and make sure that it didn't have the beer in it, or that it was not something that was a big part of it. I talked with the kids. Your mileage may vary of what your community will allow. Mine were okay with that. So go in there, preview it. Don't just hand it out to your kids. But once they learn the basics, then build something you're proud of. That was their challenge. Don't build just something to build it. Be proud. Here's one example. This is Anna. All kids learn some of the basics of sewing. Anna's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the things that she did.
Hi, I am from STEAMmaker's team, and I've been working on this backpack all day, and I just finished it now. It's really super cute. I love it so much. It has now outstitch. It has a really cute inside, which I think is so cute. This took me about 4 to 6 hours to make.
4 to 6 hours.
Not 4 to 6. It's the cutest bag I've ever owned. First, what we had to do is we had to...
She went ahead and paused it there. What we created was a little personal, I didn't want to call it confession booth. I called it a self-interview booth. Those of us who are familiar with those old MTV real world videos, it's kind of like that. I didn't want kids to come and confess. They self-interviewed, and I encouraged them to make short videos, 30 seconds or less. And if I say 30 seconds, then they'd make a minute or so. And so she would stop right there. But look at her. Man, she was proud of that thing that she'd never sewn anything before. And there she was in just 4 to 6 hours. By the way, I only gave them 2 hours on that module, but she came back after dinner breaks and would continue working on that when they had choice of wherever they wanted to be, because that was something she really fell in love with. On the picture on the right, she made a headband, right? Now, it's not beautiful, but that's not what it's about. This is her level 2 challenge, which we'll talk about in a little bit. To you and me, it looks like a headband. In a full year-long project, or in a full year-long STEAMmaker environment, she would go on and work with the technology with this. And what that is, if you ask her, is it's headbands for chemotherapy patients. And the point to that is one, she wants them to feel beautiful in a really low time of their life. But to add the technology to that, she's got a list as long as her arm of what it could do. For instance, quite simply, it could take the temperature of the patient and alert them if their temperatures are too low or too high. Another component that it could have, she fell in love with this one, was she just said, she kept coming back to it as the aromatherapy. Sometimes we might feel nauseous, or we might feel tired, or we might not be able to get sleep, and that we could push a button or two that would create some sort of aromatherapy environment for the wearer. These are just 2 of the ideas that she had that could be built with this. If she had now more time instead of a 5-day camp, now we would start working on the technology. She learned to sew and then learned how to use that sewing combined with another piece that she was learning could make the world a better place for some people. I think that's important. Another module. Let's take a quick look and a listen to Marshall. Marshall had about 2 hours to be introduced to this topic, to write lyrics, to learn the software, to practice, record, revise, and everything that it took to make this. Let's take a listen to Marshall.
If you want to mess with technology and change the world, STEAMmaker is the place to go, yeah? Ginger by my side, helping me gang up on problems and figure it out. Check the list and here's the order it goes in. Ching! Hey, what's the problem? Let's go ahead and brainstorm. Test, fail. Evaluate. And try again. Present and publish. And watch everyone publish. Hey, come on down. Let's go make the world a better place.
Marshall's a 7th grader who had never done anything like this before and was pretty proud, actually, to stand in front of his fellow campers and play that as the first 2 hours attempt. What would happen if we gave him, again, a year-long camp or classroom to really refine some of those skills? I'm proud of that kiddo. So our music producer module was one where kids could build instruments or they could just make music with different pieces of software. Remember, on these tents, What you're seeing are the basics level and level 1. Each group gets about 3 hours at each module, and level 2, which as I said you're going to see here in a little bit, that's what we're aiming for, is in level 2, is the further work. Another kid in the music module, this is Matt. Okay, Matt, what do you got going here? What are we looking for on this?
Different notes.
Okay, why?
So it's a musical instrument, not just a noisemaker.
Oh, nice. Why are the longer sticks? Are they higher or lower?
They're lower.
Why?
These are higher, so you can't hear them as much.
Oh, what do you mean you can't hear them as much?
Because you hear stuff by tones.
Okay, but why is the longer one lower?
I don't know exactly.
That's okay, that's okay. I wonder if it has something... Play it again? I caught myself. I almost told him the answer. I don't think that's accidental. I think that's on purpose. And I'm going to challenge you to tell me why and find out why the longer one is lower. Because you're done. This is exactly what it should be.
Okay.
But I want to know why.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Our boy had hurdles. In school, and at the beginning here, he was just very disengaged. The picture in the right-hand corner with him smiling was a rare view. I was really pulling this kid along to get him a little more engaged, to go deeper, to try something else. Instead of just having a noisemaker, I wanted a real instrument, and so that's where I was pushing him toward. I was still pulling when his teachers commented to me about how awesome he was doing, how he had really, really, really come out of his shell, and I didn't know that. I was surprised. What would happen if he had a year-long environment? These girls made awesome music. They were learning in structure of song and software. If you've ever had kids work in GarageBand before, they do a smash up of loops, and it's terrible. It's not a song. It's just a smash up of loops. And as they were doing that, then I would ask them to pause, go listen to a song that they like, notice how things were repeated. Now, how could they do something like that? It's just-in-time learning is what they were doing. I'm not teaching them. They're not looking at tutorials I've put together. They might want to look up tutorials. I suggest that they do that. It's learning in the world. And they built some stuff they were proud of. Another module. This was one of the more popular modules we had. In this module, they had the option of coding, redesigning a strand beast, or building, designing, programming and coding an actual different robot. This QR code here sends the students to my YouTube playlist that I put together before the camp started of Theo Jensen's Strandbeest, which is a wind-powered robot. It's several different videos where they could see one work, and they could choose to build a wind-powered robot if they wanted to. All the kids chose to design, program, and code using the Hummingbird Robotics kit. Each team came through. This module took a little bit longer than others. 3 hours was, I think, the shortest time that they started from unpacking the boxes to actually having it built and demonstrated. What you're seeing here, these kids built an actual lion because they're from a town called, that the mascot is lions. There was a group of my little ones, 4th, 5th graders, who built a monkey. Another built a lion that roared, and you could ask it questions, so it was in time with what you were asking is what these guys were. Another group built a duck that quacked, and another group built a baby that cried, it cooed, it rattled, and so they really got into this. And each group that went through tried to outdo the next group, so it was kind of fun. Hummingbird Robotics, if you're not familiar with that, I highly encourage you to go in there and check out their plug and play. Circuitry is a module that we see a lot in maker spaces. It's affordable, it's fun, It's flexible. There are all sorts of different ways for kids to learn circuitry. You can see that I have 2 different level 1 challenges because I think a lot of times we play with these tools, the paper circuitry or makey-makeys or little bits, and we just end up playing with the tool and not necessarily learning the circuitry. We don't pause and go deeper into that and then, okay, now how do we apply this in the world? So they were able to take lights and piezoelectric motors and build a house out of foam core. That was the part that didn't matter. But then they would wire the house to make it actually function according to this challenge. A lot of students went right to the Little Bits kit because they didn't have any experience with circuitry at all, and I'm fine with that. I love that as a great starter. It's always so fun. Kids can start really small with a 5-minute win and graduate on up to doing really huge, cool things with Arduinos and Wi-Fi, and I encourage you to look up Little Bits. These are kits that, like I said, kids can get a quick win. Let's go ahead and take a look at one rising 5th grader. He's a current 4th grader right here. Oh, hi, Bryant. How are you? I haven't seen you today. How are you?
Good.
Good? I haven't seen you. Good to see you. Ah! What was that?
There is a project in Little Bits where it's like one of those things when you shake someone's hand, they tase you. It tases you, and that's what that is.
Let's see it. Okay, hold still. What is that?
That's the buzzard. So when you shake someone's hand, the buzzard inside my sleeve goes off.
Let's see up. Can we see up your sleeve? Maybe. Okay, we're looking. You're digging. Oh, here it comes. Oh my gosh, you've got quite a contraption up there.
Yeah. And there it all is.
Okay. How hard was that to make?
Not hard.
That's good. Little prank buzzer.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Made here at STEAMmaker Camp. Thanks, Brant.
You're welcome.
What I love about these Little Bits is it has a very low learning curve, but it hooks the kids in. Look at the kid's face. He is so stoked with this. And so then I can put another level of challenge and he'll be willing to go through and persist through that. Now, if I have somebody who understands circuitry really well, awesome. Let's dive right in. And then once we've got them hooked with the fun, then we can start talking some of the more details about schematics and all the really heady electronic stuff. Here's some of the modules, or some of the, tools that are found in a circuitry module a lot. We had each of these. It's super fun. Again, affordable. Right now would be a great time for you to pause this and then go in and Google these and see why you might fall in love with them. And heck, might not even want to share them with kids because they're just a lot of fun. Our most popular module with all the students was, of course, the 3D modeling and 3D printing. Kids want to print, and so I know how to leverage that. But I show them printing. I show them our MakerBot printing stuff out. But then I ask them to learn to create models before they get to print. Why? Because the printing is the easy part. It's the cool part. But we've got to learn to get blisters on our fingers if we're going to learn how to play guitar, right? You don't just immediately pick up a guitar and you're the best person in the whole wide world. That's called, I don't know, playing an MP3, playing a song. That's, what do we call it? What's that, Wii Rock Band, right? I want kids to actually learn what it takes to build those models. And you can see that. Once they've built that, then you can get in and actually start printing. And the kids loved that. They loved it. It's not easy, especially since most of them had never even used, seen, or heard of even SketchUp. So we started there. Here are some of the tools that you might want to use inside a 3D modeling and printing section. I think some of these are you can go further with this, absolutely. Thingiverse has a whole library of models that other people have created, and some you can bring down and edit and then print and then re-upload. I didn't even let kids do that. I had them start. I love SketchUp to start with kids because it's got, a pretty low learning curve. They can get successful there in the 3D modeling concepts at first. It's not got a lot of bells and whistles. The trouble with SketchUp is you do have to go through some modification to get it into the right format before you print, especially if you go with the MakerBot 3D printer. Kids and teachers both had a tough time, but they both got to design, they both got to print, and they loved this module. Let's take a listen.
So, I'm Lily, and I'm Lauren, and we were both just at the 3D printing center, and it was so cool because I finally got mine done, and then they're already printing mine, except it has to be smaller, because otherwise I wouldn't have enough time to make it. And so here is the small little heart from it, because I'm making a companion cube. And for those of you who know what they are, you're awesome. Thank you. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. Lauren, tell about your experience.
I thought it was really fun, except I didn't have enough time to print mine. Although I'm hopeful that I'll be able to print it at some point. I was trying to do a little doghouse, and then I deleted because I'm not the most experienced person in that module. But
Wait, did you accidentally delete it?
No, I deleted it on purpose because it was terrible. So I think it's going really well. Everybody was having a lot of fun with that, all the computer programming and such.
I think it's obvious that is the most favorite of all of the modules. So thank you for listening.
By the way,
Nice.
what you're seeing with
Have
this...
a good day, I guess.
What you're seeing them in is what we call that self-interview booth. How we created that is just a music stand with some really strong Velcro that is stuck to it, and all they had to do was go up and push record. I encourage them to make short videos, 30 seconds or less. If it was any longer than that, you know how kids can start to ramble like teachers. It made it really easy. So now I have these really beautiful little out of the mouths of babes where I can share with parents or share with other people across the world or even better with the school board members as why we should get kids engaged in this type of learning. Great little pieces. So how do we then take the basic learning that we learned in each of these modules and level up? How do we go further? This is what I'm really getting kids to. I wanted to give them a taste in the beginning, a warm-up, a lead-up to this. This is the truly level 1 learning in a full-time program, but in a camp, I had to stretch them beyond just the oohs and ahs, this is fun. And I had to remind the teachers of the purpose of education. Because this is what this is about. It's about doing good in the world. It's not about necessarily, that's maybe not what school's purpose is, but I'd say education's purpose is about doing good in the world. So what other modules could we add to that? You've seen just a few, right? It's infinitely flexible. What's cool? What's fun? What's learning? By the way, originally I'm a social studies teacher, right? You would think that would be a detriment in me helping kids go further into STEM and STEAM areas, but really I think it's a benefit because I don't know all the technicalities of all of these. I'm not even going to pretend that I know everything in the world. And even the best science teacher probably also doesn't know everything in the world. So that's where being not a STEM teacher or being one who's got a little more humility to me, I can bring in mentors from outside the school. Not only getting my kids tied into more authentic learning with actual people who are working in the field, but then also tying the community closer to my school so that they can see the amazing stuff that kids can do. People ask all the time, what about the cost? What about supplies? MakerShed has some really great starter advice. There's going to be a link later where you can find MakerShed. Listen, don't invest in all the perfect tools. Have one or two really nice things in addition to some of the cheaper tools, because kids are going to use them and they're going to break them. Just because that's how things work. It's the reality. Even if you teach them how to use tools properly, they're still going to break. But I buy the really nice ones because then kids can earn the right to use those. And for those who truly are interested in going deeper in a particular area, they get experience in working with actual tools that somebody in a professional world might use. Again, we were strangers coming together. I had to learn who the students were. They had to get to learn who I was. And remember, this is about professional learning. This whole camp is about professional learning, about teaching teachers how to teach in this type of environment. So it allowed me to see how the teachers interacted with kids in this type of environment, what their skills were. By the way, these short-term challenges work in every classroom. It doesn't have to be some sort of camp. So take a look at these. One was the amazing rubber band car. This was the very first day of camp. I spent about 15 minutes introducing who I was, kind of what we were doing, where's the bathroom, where are you going to get drinks, and then bam, we were into it. There was a YouTube video about 36 seconds long. If you Google the amazing rubber band car, you will find that YouTube video. Kids watched it, they thought, they designed, and then I let them touch my materials. I don't let them touch materials until they've shown to me that they've really thought and they've designed. Otherwise, they're going to, even if my materials are expensive, I don't have a lot of money. I'm a teacher. It's time for them to not just experiment with expensive stuff. Let's find ways to prototype inexpensive. They had about, I'm going to say an hour, 2 hours, maybe an hour to design and then start building, test, and revise before they had to present. Again, very quick in and out. And only one car worked. Only one. Out of all the teams, only one car worked. That's okay. I wanted them to fail. I wanted them to realize it's not the end of the world. And if you're really doing something new, you're not going to be perfect at it. Now what? How would you have fixed it if you had time? And if this was what the camp was about, I'd have given them time to fix it, and we would have gone through and felt, yay, success. Again, that was not the purpose of this activity. This purpose was just for me to see who they are and to introduce them to this way of thinking and doing. Another thing we did was our Sidewalk Chalk Challenge. I showed them a YouTube video that showed really beautiful, that sidewalk chalk where it looks like, the kids there are falling down into the sidewalk, right? Kids and the teachers oohed and awed, and they thought, that's really neat. And I said, yeah, well, now you're going to make these. And boy, they squirmed. They were nervous. They're not sure how it was going to work. Let's hear what one kid told me, totally unprompted.
I thought this 3D designing was only for professionals, but because the best I've ever done is a 3D box on a piece of paper. But then I realized we just need some effort and some drive to get it done.
Some effort and drive to get it done. That's my intent. I don't care about sidewalk chalk. I care about the fact that I give them a challenge that they think there's no way they can do it, but with a little drive and effort and, some strategic research and practice and prototyping before they actually go out and do it, they can do things they never thought were possible. That's the point. One more challenge before we close this up here was a torsion drum challenge. I just said, you're going to build a torsion drum. You have 45 minutes. Go. And that's all I said.
Hey, what you got going on here?
We have a drum it's a torsion drum. We have meters down here, and then we got some up here. It's a double drum, and then we have a rattler up here, and we made it. And we also have an SDEC sign. We both drew one, and then up on the top of this, it's hard to see, but we have STEAMmaker, some gears, and then Trojan drum, and that's on a drum.
So let's take a look inside the action of this really short amount of time they had to build.
This is a good bit. I'll grab an iPad so we can make sure that it's not sticky right here. It's sticky. So do you
Absolutely.
I apologize for the shakiness. This is through my Google Glass.
Yep. We have to know what torsion means, y'all.
See students and teachers working together. Researching what is a torsion drum.
What are you guys looking up? Why? Oh, what torsion is? Okay, go ahead. What are you finding out what it means?
We're going to try and figure out what it means so we know what the drum is.
So what does it mean? Oh, okay, still looking. Okay. I'll come back. Do you know what torsion means?
I think it has something to do with the ends being covered with material. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good prediction. Let's make sure you're right. Okay.
Physics, biology, warfare.
Here, let's try this. Let's see what's really called. The active
Boys trying Siri.
Say that again, Mason. Oh, the act.
The active twin do the has.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's the happiness.
By the way, just because Mason said this, we need to confirm this. That doesn't mean that he's right. He could be wrong. So let's confirm it. One person said it. Show me. Show me where you know it for sure.
Like contortion? She's getting root words in there. Watch this teacher guide her 4th, 5th graders and 6th graders. They're looking at materials, not using it, just looking at them. I don't care who, it's not going to be me.
You guys need to stop, think through the process, and then, they aren't, but you four are working as a group. They're working in their work.
Just helping them stay organized. And that girl was going to tell everybody what to do.
I mean, stop. Don't you answer this question. You can tell me what torsion means.
Just a peek inside a busy classroom. Seeing the process. What are you noticing? Are the kids on task?
I think that it looks the same.
Torsion drill. It's a great start. Good peek in. Overall, this is why kids love not just STEAMmaker Camp, but all hands-on learning by doing. If you want to pause and read these, feel free. Parents and administrators in the summertime were Facebooking me to tell me how this is working for them. And teachers have stayed in contact with me, and they're modeling their own rooms after this camp. I hear from many, if not most, of the teachers. STEAMmaker Camp's a win. Do you want to do this yourself? While we own the STEAMmaker Camp brand, you, probably being part of the choir here watching this video, you can dig in yourself and you can learn. You can develop your own type of environment. Here are some really great resources that can help you do that. Hashtags, follow them on Twitter, get to learn, get to connect with other teachers who are doing this. It's really important, I think, to rethink what school can be. If we're going to continue thinking about this, here's some things that you and your team might ponder after watching this presentation. Again, pause if you like, and dig in. If you have questions or if you want to know more about me or STEAMmaker Camp, let's get connected. I love to help teachers, leaders, schools, and communities rethink what education can be in today's world. Thank you.